Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Xenonauts 2. As today we settle into month 10, and more notably, prepare for our next orbital strike, just 1 week out, which means we now make our final frenzied round of preparations before we move to intercede. I mean, obviously we're not going to let them take off another shot if we can help it. I'm not entirely sure what we're in for up there, so I'm really just kind of hedging our bets. You know, we're not going to be able to get much done in a single week, but we're just a few days out on alien fusion. We've got several engineering projects in the queue. Not to mention our flight base still in the works, though that, unfortunately, I don't think is going to be ready in time. But, you know, we'll do what we can, and hopefully it all works out. I guess we'll see. Let's push up the clock. Stalker armor restocked. And there's our latest batch of new recruits. A big raider welcome to Zeliath Zelatos, J. Chiz, Triphoppenskip, and Kabuki, who I believe we had back in the early access series, so welcome back. I will also say that this is not the last batch of people we're bringing in. We've got room to spare, so, you know, we might as well bring in everyone we can fit just to keep whittling down that waiting list. Though it will slow our training a bit since we don't have room for another training facility, and that'll take us over cap. But I do like the idea of getting in as many people as possible, even if, realistically, there's no way they'll all fit. I mean, not unless we start suffering truly catastrophic casualties, though, you know, given what happened the last couple of episodes, I suppose that's within the realms of possibility. That said, if you still would like to make it in, potentially, I mean, no guarantees, let me know in the comments down below. It would be nice if the last few slots went to people who are still actually watching the series. And here we go, alien fusion. The fusion weapons we have begun to encounter on the battlefield pose a serious threat to our soldiers. They not only deliver far greater firepower than existing alien weapons, but also appear more adept at punching through armor. Disassembly of recovered examples reveals a familiar layout of electronic components that generate bolts of superheated plasma and eject them toward the target. However, the designs of the components themselves are almost unrecognizable. Each of these is many times more complex than the equivalent piece of a plasma weapon, an astonishingly intricate creation built from highly advanced alien materials. Our enemies appear to be harnessing a controlled fusion reaction to achieve energy outputs within a few % of the theoretical maximum efficiency of the process. This means that these fusion weapons almost certainly represent the most powerful tools in the extraterrestrial arsenal, and finding a way to negate them would give us a decisive advantage on the battlefield. Unfortunately, this is easier said than done. The sheer amount of energy contained within a fusion projectile means that a direct hit is guaranteed to penetrate almost any substance in existence. The question is simply how much our armor can reduce the damage, or protect the wearer from otherwise lethal glancing hits. An alternative may be to turn this deadly technology against its creators. These captured weapons provide a blueprint for the development of our own fusion weapons. However, further advances in material science may be required before they can be fully realized. Yeah, that tracks. I did have a viewer mention that we weren't actually about to unlock fusion. And it does appear this is just a prereq. Though it does beg the question of what the other prereqs might be. I would assume ultra-dense alloys, which was next on my list anyway. But it could be nanofab. That's another one we've been kicking back for quite a while. Which, of course, is why I ultimately tossed a few more Gauss weapons into our queue. As well as this, a Gauss damage boost. How much is that? Oh, 200k. That's not bad at all. Yeah, we'll toss that in, say, right after rifle, but before the rest. Should be done in time for the satellite raid. As for research, yeah, we'll stay the course and stick with ultra-dense alloys. That one feels like the safest bet, and if nothing else, it'll unlock new armor options. But if that doesn't do it, then yeah, we might have to double back to nanofab, which I've otherwise been low prioritizing. Won't lie though, I'm also very curious about biosurvey array. But, you know, we'll see what this one unlocks before we plan too far ahead. Hopefully Goss is enough to keep us limping along for at least a little while longer, especially with that damage bump. But, you know, again, I guess we'll see. I am getting nervous, though. U001 is something that was not included in early access, at least not at the point we actually played. So, to me, it feels like we're butting right up against the endgame. But with all this tech we still have yet to unlock, it really does reinforce the idea that I've been falling behind the curve. Nanotech Workshop's online. Let's go ahead and bring in the new engineers. Which actually does leave us with a fair bit of leftover living space here. I just have no idea what to actually do with that. I suppose we could build additional facilities, like for faster engineering or just to bank extra cash. Alright, Orbital Strike is 2 days out, so what have we still got time for? Okay, it'll be tight, but I think we can get all the way up to that reinforced plate. Just gotta be very precise with the timing here. The second it pops, we've gotta go in. And there we go. Alright, let's do this. Also nice to see the damage upgrade was automatically applied, so we do not need to rebuild anything. We can just coast with what we've got. And how do we trigger the mission again? Ah, there we go. U001 Sabotage. Launch a strike against the lower decks of U001 in an attempt to damage the orbital bombardment cannon. Mission type Capture Resources, biome Orbital. Time remaining indefinite. Victory effects 5 to 25 day bombardment delay, as well as a universal -10 panic reduction. Which is actually pretty fantastic. I mean, we're not even really hurting on panic. Wait, that's not... Oh, wow! Okay. I was deliberately holding off on hitting U001, not just because I wanted to upgrade our tech, but also because I was specifically trying to hold out for the new dropship, because I had the idea in my head that we needed it if we wanted to go in with a full 12-man team. But no, obviously if you're teleporting in, you know what, I feel silly now. Okay, one sec, let me get our guys prepped. And we're back. Team is set, and given that we're headed into the unknown here, we're going in with some major manpower. Though, I will say I was not prepared for a full 12-man team, so we are a bit light on gear. We're still leaning on some laser weaponry here and there. Also, didn't have enough electroshock pistols to go around. But hopefully this should be sufficient. I am going on a lot of guesswork here, though. For example, I don't know what the terrain's going to be like, so I've got jetpacks equipped on everyone, but it's entirely possible it might be a claustrophobic cluster where they're entirely useless. But, you know, that's why we're going in heavy. This is, essentially, at its core, our test run. And, you know, to those who are about to die, etc., etc. Launching a raid on the lower decks of U001 should allow us to gather further intelligence on the station and sabotage the powerful cannon being used in the orbital bombardment of Earth. This mission cannot be won by eliminating all enemies. It will end automatically once your soldiers have returned to the extraction area. Hack at least 10 alien consoles. Retrieving data cubes, which must be returned to the extraction zone. Each data cube adds +1 day to the orbital bombardment recharge timer. Enemies spawn continuously from turn 6 and onward. Oh, so it's one of these, okay. Though, at only 1 day per cube, that's pretty tight, but also the original synopsis said minimum 5 days, so there must be a baseline of 4+ data cubes. So 2 weeks on a standard success. The quantum gateway appears to have worked as intended. All of our soldiers have successfully translocated aboard U-001. You seem surprised. This process has very little margin for error. 1 or 2 fatalities would not have been unexpected. You could have mentioned that a little earlier in the process. Would it have changed our plans? That's not the point. Anyway, our objective is to sabotage the control systems for the bombardment cannon. Commander, your men need to locate as many consoles as possible and upload the virus. Additionally, I imagine most of the consoles will contain at least 1 alien data crystal. Recovering them may prove worthwhile. Once you're done, get everyone back to the transport pod and we'll translocate them home. And we're in. Okay, let's see. Much more open design than I expected, so yes, it looks like we will get some use out of those jetpacks. Assuming we can use those to fly over these open gaps. No aliens in immediate view, though we do have numerous doors. So there's no telling which direction they might come at us from. Lots of teleporters too, which implies multiple levels. Though they can't have made the map too large because, like, they're only giving us 6-7 turns before reinforcements start spawning in. Let's get a peek in this first door off right. That'll give us a better idea of what to expect behind the rest. Come on, Nolan, shields up front. Let's see what we've got. Okay. Pretty conventional, Wraith facing towards us. No clear line of sight. The double-wide console does not appear to be one we can interact with, though, so... Nice. Let's go ahead and punch out this double-wide. It looks like it's these here that we actually need. And given that this is an extraction run, we don't really have to worry about collateral either, not even the aliens, since, generally speaking, we're not going to be carrying anything back with us. So we can actually go all out for once. Get Nolan clear, cover the door. Then Random comes in behind. Tosses in a satchel charge. This will also let us see if we can punch out walls. Okay, I'm gonna say that's a yes. Finish him off. Nice. Okay, so we've got 2 consoles in this first room. We only need 10 for baseline success. So if we assume 2 per room, then it's actually not that bad. It looks like we've got at least 2 or 3 rooms off to each side. Which in theory, if we, again, assume 2 per room, that right there is enough to get it done. Oh, target pinged. Scion up top. So we do have multiple levels. We've got elevation levels, rather. Interesting, interesting. It's honestly not terribly far off from being like a settlement map, only with the added twist of the big open gaps and the numerous teleporters, which do concern me. Scion out. Let's peek left. Room looks clear, and we are seeing 2 more consoles. So I mean, that right there gets us to 4 of 10. Honestly, trickiest part's just going to be making sure that our characters have space in their inventory to pick these things up, since some of the raiders are packed pretty tight. Hug cover. We'll get a couple of guys on the console here. Targets we've encountered thus far are actually pretty soft, so if someone comes busting out of one of these doors, it actually does seem reasonably likely we could potentially 1 or 2 tap them. Arrow. Why don't you clear this corner? Okay, which does confirm you can fly over the gaps. That's good to know. We actually didn't blow out the walls. We took out the one space that I think was an actual door. We'll check again next time we hit someone with explosives. Hold. Seb. Okay, okay. Oh. Man, for a second there I thought you were going to shake that off. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Honestly, we're still in pretty good shape. I mean, seeing much less resistance than I really expected. Room's clear with 2 more consoles. I think 2 per room is quickly becoming the standard. Let's check over here. Ooh, okay. Hi. Yeah, I should have led with that. And we're good. So not all rooms have consoles. Some have teleporters. Which does beg the question of where those go, because it's not like a conventional ship. They might actually be for horizontal travel as opposed to vertical. Oop. Okay, well, that's awkward. Fall back. Andron, next room over. Not ideal, but not the end of the world. We'll hold here. It might get one shot off on us. But we should be in good shape to take it next round. Clear the Seb. Nice tag. Careful though. He might have points banked. Suppressing fire. Okay, okay. One solid hit plus suppress, we'll take it. gets it pretty close to death, or capture, though, I mean, obviously capturing is a pretty limited use. Shoot. I mean, in theory we could carry stuff back, but it's just not super practical. At least not for our first run. Maybe once we've fully felt things out. Okay, and that is fair. Shield it a little over half. Fall back. Purple tier. That feels like that's pretty low down the totem pole. Also, this room is empty. Okay, so not every room has something of note. This particular one is just like glorified storage. And then that's just more walkway. Gotcha. Alright, okay. We are getting a pretty good idea of exactly how this works. Vaguely circular overall layout, multi-tiered buildings. We've got the one big central hub, but then I'm going to guess we've got 4 clusters of buildings on each corner, each consisting of roughly 3 rooms. Oh, wait, there's 3 consoles in that room there. Okay, so we found 3 off right, but 5 off left. Not enough for a full 10, but it gets us pretty close. Which would definitely reinforce the idea that these teleporters are for horizontal movement. Since with such a tight... Nice. Since with such a tight deadline... That's a tank. Yeah, and I mean, that's just like a baseline Andron. That thing went down easy. Which I assume is the same with the one over here. Okay. I mean, yeah, this is way more forgiving than I was expecting it to be. I was really over-stressing about this. So we could definitely afford to bring some raw recruits on future runs, especially with guaranteed 12-man teams. Though I do wonder if this one's deliberately easier, simply because it's our first raid and they weren't expecting it. Will they ramp things up with each subsequent raid? Now that they know we can actually do it? Or is this just a one-time thing? I mean, I suppose that's also a possibility. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Nolan shield at about 2/3. Might still have a shot on tap, but we have to take it out. Arrow. Watching the walls. Okay, you know what? That's slightly more definitive. I will go ahead and say that yes, we can in fact destroy these walls. And drawn out. And yes, confirmed, only one console in this room. So, uneven distribution. Yeah, I think that's what the teleporters are for. Because you're on such a tight deadline here. I don't think I finished that thought earlier, but because you're on such a tight deadline here, I think the teleporters are probably meant to expedite getting you around the map. Though inversely, it also helps the aliens get to you. Which is why I'm hesitant to start pushing on this center room, since that would put the teleporters behind us. Get a peek out here. Okay, there's a purple. Might be the same guy. Fall back. Hold near the door, we'll rush next round. Hang back. You've only got half your shield left. We've got a wide open gap, though, so I mean, if they try to rush, we've got them on this angle. Yeah, I think we're going to leave our guys where they are on center until we're ready to push up on either side. We have hurt tanks. I think that's going to be our stickiest wicket out here. Unless we encounter our first Eternal. I mean, they're still out there somewhere. I'm just not... If they were going to show up anywhere, it feels like this would be it. That's actually why I packed the side dampeners this time out, as opposed to the auto regen mods. Manlor, let's get you up top. Hold. Nice. Yeah, these guys are... Okay, there were two. And a Secton. Plus a tank. Solid. Alright, okay, let's take that out. Oh, snap. Wow. I did not expect you to completely eat that shot, even if it was into your front plate. How are we looking out here? Is this a room or a hall? Or bridge. Okay, sure. With visibility to the tank. Otherwise clear. Let's move up and, strip armor. Nice. Takes care of the plate. Now we just need someone to finish it off. Arrow. Yeah, just hang tight there. That was too far. Amartya should have an angle, though. Ooh, okay. Really thought that would get it done, but fair enough. Roman? There we go. Tank out, which leaves just these two off left. One purple Scion plus Secton escort. We know they're tucked in the corners based on where we saw them moving last turn. So easy enough to lock down. We'll just spend this turn moving up. Distant Seb plus more teleporters, which, yeah, I'm gonna say those probably connect to the ones near our snipers. Lock him down. I assume that worked. Yes. Oh, snap. But they do have... Okay, interesting. That is problematic. I'm glad I didn't just blow out the corner, because that would have cost us a console. Which means we might have one off on the right side, too. Let's lock that guy down, too. Should get it done. Maybe. That might not be... Nah, it's fine. Trip, you want to double check our work? Okay, it did not, in fact, get it done, and he is, again, behind a console. Move to flank, which also clears the side. And we have extra extraction teleporters there? That's convenient. Makes it a lot more viable to push more aggressively, since you have to worry less about getting all the way back. Epic moves up. We'll push up next round, hopefully roust those two guys, secure our basic victory condition. We still have a Seb somewhere in back as well. Yeah, right over there. Way too far for us to have to worry about right now, but that really depends on how those teleporters work. Okay. Hold. At least one more tank out there. Careful. Right. Seb. Scion. mclouj got tapped, but it didn't get through his armor. Take him out. But be wary of the Seb. It's just one room over. Secton out. Not sure if that actually hit. Trip, you want to go ahead and clear this Scion? Thank you. Someone scoop those data cubes. Nice. We can also see one next room in, but that I think is farther in than I'm comfortable going. We only have 3 turns till reinforcements. And the teleporters are still an unknown, so... How are we looking off right? Oh, okay. Well, we've got one right in front of us. That's bonus overtime. Room otherwise looks pretty clear. Yeah, I'd say that's about as clear as it gets. Hold on, door. Arrow. Nope, not clear. Very much not clear. Let's see if we can suppress. That'll do it. Should be an easy kill. Oh, okay, well. Immediate change of plans. We do not want to take a full tank burst to the face. That's a pretty rough spot for Arrow to be stuck in. Hold please. Random, go ahead and turn its head. Nice, thank you. Robovsky. Okay, less damage than I would have liked, but we'll take it. Fall back. We might lose arrow, but I guess that's an acceptable loss. Oh, wow. Okay, that is not what I was expecting, but you know what? For a space station, I guess that makes sense. It's like a central... What would you call that? Like a giant anti-gravity spinner? A centrifuge? Yeah, take this one out. Solid. Follow up. Manlore, can you... Well, actually, we've got at least 2 hostiles left side, so why don't you stay put? Amartya. Ah, sorry, Arrow. Fall back. Yeah, that wasn't great. Good luck. Seb, sure. Scion on approach. Oof. Nasty hit on Rabovsky. Secton suppressed. And how you doing, Rob? Okay, about half. Not great, but could be worse. We'll have someone patch you up. Let's just neutralize some other threats first. I forgot to pull Trip out. Thank goodness that Seb didn't come after us. Yeah, I meant to roll him back out into the hall. Secton out. And I'm not going to risk going any deeper. Let's start pulling you guys back out. The thought does occur the teleporters might actually be where reinforcements arrive. So until we know that, best to play it safe. I mean, look, I would like to get more data, but we've already met the minimum victory requirement. We've hit 11 of 10. That right there buys us 11 days. And we've got 2 more right here. So yeah, assuming a base of 4 plus 13 cubes, that's 17 days. 2.5 weeks, not bad, all things considered. Though I suppose the big downside is that because this is an extraction mission, we're not getting paid for this. We only get cash for anything we pull back out, which... Again, it just really isn't worth risking for our first time in. Let's get Rabovsky patched. We'll have Amartya pull back. She should hopefully be able to reach him. Okay. Yeah, fall back. Ooh, perfect. Though hopefully nothing comes out the teleporters. We've still got 2 active threats on this side, Scion plus tank. Let's see if we can take out at least one. Oop, hate that. Nice. Kill shot. Oh, for goodness sake. Alright, just back in cover. You too, Burke. Oh, wait, Okay, I did not realize you would be able to see me through there. That is not great. Honestly, really should just build more sniper rifles. I don't know if these assault rifles are gonna cut it. Ow. Okay. Okay. Armor rate the shot, so we're in good shape. That's fine. Fall back. No individual evac. It only happens if they're all on the pad. That's good to know. Come on, Marines, we are leaving. Yeah, we're not gonna push our luck. Reinforcements in next round, so everyone just book it back to evac. Rabovsky's already hurt, so we have to be extra careful with him. Amartya, you think you can make that shot? You know what? Forget it. You two just hang here. We'll hit the pad next round. At this point, our main goal is just to get out clean. Okay. Hold. Reinforcements. So they do come in on the extraneous pads. Though thankfully in this case far side, but I imagine much like with the old cleaner extraction maps, they'll also start coming in on the sides every other turn. We will not stick around to find out. I am still curious if you can still use them to evac though. But I am not eager to test it because if you can't, it leaves you in a very bad position. That said, way easier than I thought it would be. I was really expecting a much more dire threat. Otherwise, I wouldn't have pushed it back so far. Nicely done, Raiders. Oh, though, I do notice we probably lucked out on the enemy positioning, because we only encountered half the enemies on the field. Walked out with 13 data cubes, so that's 17 days. Got some modest gains. Pulled a Distinguished Service Medal for Amartya, who also bumped up to Colonel. And Rabovsky, wow. Rite of Passage, Crimson Heart. That which does not kill you, only makes you stronger. Alright, let's head on back. See what this unlocks. Oh. Bridge Assault. Okay, guess that answers that. Which, just based on the difficulty of this mission, can't be the end. But does feel like... I mean, it's gotta be the first place we'll encounter an actual Eternal. They have to start showing up at some point. I'm not in a hurry to do that one, not yet. Now that we know how easy it is to push back that doomsday clock. We'll just bank those last few unlocks, maybe raid the satellite 1 or 2 more times as need be. Make sure we're good and ready before the next bit of plot. Which I do think brings us to a good place to call it, but before we do that, let's do some quick logistics. I do think we need more sniper rifles. It's going to be a while before we get fusion, so let's go ahead and make 2 more. And then 1 more normal Gauss rifle. Though really, at least for those missions, it really does feel like the sniper rifles are the way to go. And we'll do 2 more electroshocks, why not? Next time around, we'll actually try to pull some caps, you know, just drag a few unconscious foes back to the pads on our way out. And let's also go ahead and push up the clock. Oh yeah, we're really close to unlocking our next operative. We also have those new engineers coming in, so we'll push up the clock until both those are done. Then we'll call it. I think we might have an alien base. So we will go ahead and call it here. I've got a prep 404 to get that dropship going, and I'll also do some scouting off screen, see if I can pinpoint where those signals are coming from. And we will pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the Raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Arrow Bowman, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Lady Shayna, Mark Giemza, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Rowan Church, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.